Hey, 420 MSP. I am with one of our logos again, or actually first time, Quantumleaf. Gentlemen, good day. How are you doing?
Morning. Great, Harry. How are
Good
you?
morning. Pretty good.
Good. Good. So I've been poking around your site. You're kind of in the ERP bucket or seed to sale as we kind of framed it up on the logo chart. The question is very simple. What is your story?
Yeah, great question. And Jonathan is actually the founder of Quantumleaf, so I'll let him kind of kick off the backstory, and then we can add some color to it.
Okay, Jonathan, go.
So started off as a small family business. Essentially, we started looking in the cannabis space. We saw there was definitely a need on the ERP side, and we ended up working out with a indoor grow in the state of Washington, where that was our first install. And we recognized fairly quickly that there was a big need in terms of ease of use on the ERP side. That's why one of the things that we did was we built for the cultivation module, we built out from scratch. Besides just bringing in all the functionality of ERP, we wanted to make sure that it was easy enough to use so that we get good data into the systems. That way we could get good analytics out. So, from the cultivation module, that's where we decided to build task management system. Essentially, we took all of the whiteboards and the spreadsheets and everything that we're using, and we built it into one easy-to-use product, and then integrated that into Acumatica ERP. So we had functional analytics that we could pull out of there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Continue. What? Well, a couple of questions. One is I see, I got the ERP thing down, and I also see you have a relationship with Acumatica. Friends of mine from the Seattle days, John Roskill, their CEO, I do consider a professional friend. Yeah, there he is. And he was head of the Microsoft Partner Program, as I like to say, back in the day. That was the bucket I lived in. So super good guy. And I think that speaks highly of you that you've kind of teamed up with them. On the website, your website, there's compliance software listed beneath the ERP software. What is that?
Yep. Yeah, so we took the ERP software and we integrated to all the state compliance software that we need to integrate to in the cannabis space. So Metric, Leaf Data, we have an integration for Health Canada as well. And that's both on the Quantumleaf cultivation module and Acumatica.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you a friendly question, but I'm just curious, because of the fragmented nature of the technology supply chain, where in the state of Washington, they don't allow vertical integration, and ERP would lend itself to vertical integration. But the state of Oregon does, I believe Canada does. Has that created challenges, opportunities? Any thoughts on that? And again, I'm just curious.
Yeah, that was one of the things that using Acumatica ERP did help with, since it is a multi-company solution, like in the state of California, where it would all be separate companies, but you may have a distribution license and a cultivation license and a manufacturing. So we'd set that up as separate companies in the system and be able to use it in all one integrated solution.
Oh, okay. That's a better answer for a Monday than I thought I would get from you. So no, and you've actually increased my knowledge. So sort of, I'm a big Dynamics user in a totally different realm, and we would probably call those separate instances, right? And I've done that when I have company A and company B, and they're really not related.
Yep.
You just spin up an instance. Is that analogous?
Somewhat. We would keep it all in one instance, so that'd be the login page, and then you could either have separate companies within that one instance where you log into, or you could have multiple tenants within that instance. Where you log into an instance, you'd have a drop down of different tenants, and you could go into like that. So one example we'd use different tenants is if you're a multi-state operator, where every tenant might be a different state because there's different regulatory compliances in each state, and then within that state you would have the breakdown of all your different companies, where you'd have all your different P&L breakdowns and all your inventory handled accordingly, where you can just transfer everything around as you need to.
Well, and the nice thing too is the consolidation of those companies, right? That's one of the keys that Acumatica does so well, is to be able to consolidate that data across those companies so you can get a perfect view of what the entire enterprise is doing versus, as well as those individual components.
Yeah, no, good kickoff conversation. So when we come back to you next quarter, because we do like to go around the horn with the logos, as you know are known, I want to talk about events. I'm going to make a note. I'm on your page. You do have a track record of going to some of the industry events, especially when the events existed.
Yep.
And
COVID definitely slowed that down a bit.
They are coming. Yeah, they are coming back, but I'll make a note to talk to you guys about maybe what events you're intending to attend the second half of the year as they come back online. What value do you get out of the events? Yada yada yada. So they'll be our next chat, gents.
Be great.
That sounds good. Harry, just to kind of touch back on what we were talking about from a consolidation of organizations. I come from an SAP background, similar to Dynamics. In that instance, you would spin up a new instance, a completely separate company, and then you would try and create some intercompany transactions between the two, which was always a challenge. That's why actually one of the reasons why we left, Justin and I left SAP and moved to Acumatica for the cannabis space specifically. So we focus on the cannabis and hemp industries. We don't focus on whatever opportunity of the day presents itself, right? We're hyper-focused on cannabis and hemp. And being able to consolidate companies and spin additional companies up, as you know the industry does and almost requires to a degree from a legal standpoint, it makes it super easy to do. All of the intercompany transactions are built into the database so that you don't have to worry about connecting and doing all the kind of fun stuff you would have to do in another ERP that's not designed out of the box from the ground up to be able to function in that way. So it's a huge differentiator in the ERP market and really makes kind of what Jonathan said earlier, the ease of use from a finance standpoint, the finance team makes it much easier to function in that way than it does to function in multiple disparate databases. So that's one of our key kind of tentpoles, ease of use, and there's multiple things that flesh out of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you added that because 3 and 4 years ago, I was an unpaid advisor to an ISV down in Southern California that had a ERP system that they had developed for food distribution. So the warehouses, the trucks, the this and that, couple client names you'd recognize. And they thought they could just reskin their ERP system for cannabis. And it didn't happen.
Yeah.
They decided to stick to the knit. Yeah, they decided to stick to the knitting and do what they do best. Totally different industry. Probably didn't have the resources to commit to doing it right. So Jeff and Justin and Jonathan, I like the fact that you're from the ground up because I get it. I mean, I've had that experience now.
Yes, and it's painful not only for the operator or publisher, but also for kind of like you said, the organization supplying the solution, because now you have disparate support teams, even sales teams, business management teams, analytical teams. It doesn't work as well as people like to say it does, and we've gone through those headaches and beat our heads against many of those walls, and that's why Quantumleaf is what it is at this point, based on that experience.
All right. Well, hey, do me a favor between now and next quarter when we're going to talk about events, but if you have occasion to bump into John Roscoe, please pass on my regards. Super good guy over at Acumatica. Thank you.
Will do.
Yeah, will do.
All right.
I'll be in the Acumatica Summit. Will be there in July with those guys, and then we'll be at the MJ BizCon Summit as well in the fall.
All right, that's what we're going to talk about next. I'm making a side note. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
You too. Have a good one.
Yep.